Hello my dear students. So we are back again with the class 11th political science. In the previous lectures we have completed a very detailed and a lengthy chapter that was on constitution from your book Indian Constitution at Work. As I told you in the first lecture only that this year you will be studying two books. One will be the Indian Constitution at Work and the other is political theory. So today we are going to begin the first chapter of your book Political Theory, and the chapter itself says Political Theory and Introduction. In this chapter we will be basically studying the meaning of political theory, the meaning of politics, why do we need to study political theory, and how do the principles of political theory be applied into practice. After this chapter, then we will be dealing with the principles one by one in the form of chapters. So, before I actually tell you what is political theory, I would like to ask one question to all of you. What makes human beings different from the other living beings? I suppose most of you know the answer about it. Leave the biological reasons. The biological reasons are different, but if you see the general reasons that is, first they possess the reasoning and ability to reflect on their actions, and secondly they have the capacity to use language and communicate with others. These two main qualities of a human being make them different and superior to the other living beings that are found on earth. So these two aspects of human predicament are used in the concept of political theory also, because political theory also analyzes and it also answers various questions. Now firstly, political theory it analyzes some basic questions. Now what are those basic questions? First is how should the society be organized? What should be the manner in which the society is organized? Secondly, why do we need a government? Why we can't work without a government? Thirdly, what is the best form of government? This is a very important aspect, that what kind of government we want for maximum gain, you could say, as per the needs of the society. Then, does law limit our freedom? In the chapters later on you will be answering one very important aspect is that can we have a society without any law? Of course the answer is no. So why do we want law? To limit our freedom. Then very important thing, what does the state owe its citizens and what do we owe to each other as citizens? These are some certain basic questions that we expect political theory to answer and analyze. Secondly, it explains the meaning and significance of concepts like freedom, equality, justice and other related concepts. As I'm telling you, in the later chapters we have one full chapter for equality, one full chapter on freedom, one full chapter for justice, because we will be dealing with these principles in detail. So the objective, if you say that the objective of political theory is to train citizens to think rationally about political questions and the political events of our time. The citizens should be trained enough to understand what all is happening in the country, what all is happening politically in the country, and they should be able to think rationally about these events. Now before I actually tell you that why do we need to study political theory, I would like to define the term politics. Before I would like to tell you the real term politics, one very common thing is this, that it is human nature that now we generally use the term politics in a negative sense. For example, if suppose the team for a particular game is being selected and one very good player has been left out, then what statement do we hear? It has been the politics. It is just because of politics. We often use the term dirty politics. Don't play dirty politics with me. Yeah, don't play politics with me. So in all these senses, we come to know one thing, that generally the word politics, it includes some negative aspects. Though politics has nothing to do with negativity, it is we who have given it a negative aspect. Basically, what is politics? That politics includes the work and ideas that are connected with governing a country, a town, etc. If you add more to the term, it is about making agreements between people so that they can live together in groups such as tribes, cities or countries. Moreover, politics involves the multiple negotiations that go in the society through which collective decisions are made. It involves what governments do and how they relate to the aspirations of the people, and moreover it also involves how people struggle and influence the decision making. So knowledge of politics is very, very important if we want to know that what is happening in the country, what all is required for the smooth working of the government, what all negotiations, what all agreements, what all collective decisions are involved in the running of politics. So children, one thing, politics should not be taken into negative sense always, because at many places it is basically the work and ideas that are connected. It is very unfortunate that politics has come to be associated with the pursuit of self-interest by any and every method. We need to realize that politics is an important and integral part of any society. Mahatma Gandhi, the father of our nation, once observed that politics envelops us just like the coil of a snake, and there is no other way but to wrestle with it. If you want to exist, if you want to survive, then you have to have a hand in hand with it. No society can exist without some form of political organization. So a number of social institutions such as the family, tribes and economic institutions have emerged to help people fulfill their needs and aspirations. Such institutions help us to find ways of living together. Then this is a very important aspect, because politics is not only confined to the affairs of the government. In fact, what government do is relevant because it affects the lives of the people in many different ways. Since the action of the government affects us deeply, therefore we should take a very lively interest in what the governments do, because if we do not do that, then we will not be able to understand the working of the government. To sum up, you can say that politics arises from the fact that we have different visions of what is just and desirable for us. So basically, it gives you a collective knowledge about the different events that are involved in the running of a country. So this was all about politics. Now closely related to it is the political theory. Now what do we study? The question arises that what do we study in political theory? If in theoretical terms you see, then political theory deals with the ideas and principles that shape up the constitutions, governments and social life in a systematic manner. It also clarifies the meaning of concepts such as freedom, equality, justice, democracy, secularism and so on. It further probes the significance of principles such as rule of law, separation of powers, judicial review, etc. Now, how all these functions of political theory are performed, how it is done. This is done basically by examining the arguments that have been advanced by different thinkers like Rousseau, Marx or Mahatma Gandhi. So all these thinkers, they were basically not directly involved in politics, but their arguments have played a very important role in examining the concept of political theory. Now another very important concept is that now India is free and independent. we already have freedom. So is all this really relevant now? Firstly, if you take an instance that equality may exist in political sphere, but it may not exist in economic and social sphere. Okay, the constitution has guaranteed equality in terms of the political sphere, but is it really practiced in the society? Has caste discrimination totally ended in the society? Are all people being judged on the same parameter? I suppose most of us know the answer that it is not. Why? Because people may enjoy equal political rights, but they can be discriminated socially because of their caste or poverty. Some people may have a privileged place in a society, while others may be deprived. Some are able to achieve whatever goal they set for themselves, while some others they don't, and some others they are not even able to go to schools. So for them, freedom is a distant dream. Second very important aspect is that though freedom is guaranteed in the constitution, but we keep on encountering new interpretations of freedom from time to time. So why? For instance, right to life has been interpreted by the courts to include the right to livelihood. Secondly, the right to information has been granted through a new law. You all know about RTI. Societies frequently encounter new challenges which generate new interpretations. So from time to time, these judicial interpretations have to be added to the main freedom which is guaranteed. Thirdly, as our world changes, we may discover new dimension of freedom. You all know when we were discussing the chapter on amendments, then I specifically said that amendments are required so that the constitution may move in reference to year, it may suit the changing trend of the society. So this is what this place says, that as our world changes, we may find new dimensions of freedom. For example, global communication technology is making it easier for activists to network with one another across the world for protecting tribal cultures or forests, but it also enables terrorists and criminals to use this network in a negative sense. Moreover, internet commerce is all set to increase in the future. This means that the information we give about ourselves online to buy goods or services, it should be protected. So this means that freedom on this front need to be protected so that it may not be misused by the people. So should the government be allowed to read private emails to track down terrorists? How much regulation is justified, and what theory should be there to fulfill all these requirements? So this is the reason that we keep on adding some things to the principles of political theory, suiting the changing needs of the society. So with this, we come to the end of today's lecture. In the next lecture, we will be telling how to put political theory in practice and the importance of it, and a few more terms related to it, which will complete the introduction of political theory. Till then, keep studying, keep reading, and stay safe.